Picture this. Tamagotchis dying in your pocket. Low-rise jeans that probably should have never existed. Eyebrow rings everywhere. And somehow, in the middle of all that, one of the most important eras in music history was unfolding. The 90s gets joked about for the fashion, but musically, it changed everything. Because this was the decade where genres stopped behaving and artists stopped trying to be perfect. It really starts in Seattle. Nevermind by Nirvana knocks Dangerous by Michael Jackson off the #1 spot. And that moment, that wasn't just a chart change, that was a shift in taste. Because up until then, music was polished, controlled, almost too clean. Grunge flipped that completely. This sound coming out of Seattle was raw, messy, emotional in a way that felt uncomfortable, but real. And the image matched it. These weren't stars in the traditional sense. They looked like they'd just rolled off a friend's sofa, thrown on whatever was closest, and gone straight on stage. Flannel shirts, worn-out jeans, no effort to look larger than life. Which is exactly why people connected with it. It felt honest. Bands like Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, and Soundgarden didn't just make music, they made imperfection acceptable, and that influence hasn't gone anywhere. Every time an artist today wins by being real instead of polished, that trace goes back here. But while that raw, stripped-back energy was taking over, something completely different was rising alongside it. Color, confidence, identity, girl groups. And this wasn't just about music, this was about presence. The Spice Girls didn't just blow up because of their songs, they blew up because everyone knew exactly who they were. Each member had a role, a personality, a lane, and that made it interactive. People didn't just listen, they picked their favorite. Scary, posh, sporty, baby, ginger. That's branding before social media even existed. And the message behind it? Confidence, independence, owning your space. Girl power wasn't just a slogan, it became part of the culture. They weren't just the biggest girl group of the 90s, they were the biggest British act since the Beatles. And they moved like a brand before artists were even thinking like that. Endorsements everywhere. Fashion influence. Those platform trainers became a statement. And the merch? Out of control. Everything from dolls to branded sweets, each one tied to a specific member. Because again, it wasn't just about the music, it was about picking your favorite. Mel B, Victoria Beckham, Melanie C, Emma Bunton, Jerry Halliwell. And whether people admit it or not, everyone had one. But here's something most people don't even realize. The phrase girl power, the thing they're known for, that was already in the culture before them. It appeared in music as early as 1992. They didn't invent it, they just packaged it and made it global. And that's the difference. At the same time, groups like TLC were bringing something different. Style, attitude, and storytelling that actually reflected real life. En Vogue took it even further with vocal precision that still holds up today. And then you've got Destiny's Child, where a young Beyoncé was already standing out, not just musically, but visually, with styling that helped shape the group's identity. Even outside the US and UK, this wave was everywhere. Bewitched bringing that playful, chaotic energy. Groups like Girlfriend in Australia building their own lane. It was global. And the key thing is, this era proved something that still runs the industry now. Music alone isn't enough. Identity matters. Presence matters. And the artists who understand that, they're the ones people remember.
Now, while all of this is happening on the surface, something way more strategic is being built underneath. A system, a pipeline. And it starts here. The Mickey Mouse Club. Early 90s, a group of kids performing, training,
learning how to be on camera. Doesn't sound crazy until you look at who was in that room. Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, Christina Aguilera, Ryan Gosling, all at the same time. That's not luck. That's infrastructure. And by the end of the decade, they take over the entire industry. Britney drops Baby One More Time, global domination. The video alone, school setting, braided pigtails, instantly iconic. Christina answers with Genie in a Bottle. Same moment, same level of impact. And then you've got NSYNC forming, with Justin Timberlake stepping in as one of the lead voices. This is where pop becomes a machine. Structured, repeatable, scalable. And if you look at how stars are built today, it's still the same model, just updated. And then comes one of the loudest eras in music history. Boy bands. No social media, no TikTok, no streaming. And somehow, the reaction was louder than anything you see today. We're talking screaming crowds, fans crying, full-on obsession. Groups like Take That, Backstreet Boys, and Westlife weren't just successful, they were untouchable. And the culture around them, just as intense. People building their identity around which member they liked. Arguments between friends over favorites. Rooms covered in posters like it was a shrine. This wasn't casual listening. This was emotional investment. And that's the key. Because once fans feel like they're part of something, they don't just support, they commit. And that same dynamic still drives everything today. There's even stories behind the scenes that show how big this wave really was. Russell Brand once auditioned for Five against thousands of others. Colin Farrell was spotted dancing in a club and got invited to audition for Boyzone. That's how wide the net was. Everyone wanted in. Because at that point, being in a boy band wasn't just a job, it was a shortcut to global fame. Then the UK takes center stage, and things get competitive. Not manufactured drama, not PR stunts, a real rivalry. Blur versus Oasis. Two completely different identities. Blur, more polished, art school, southern. Oasis, raw, northern, working class energy. And the media? They turned it into a war. They literally called it the Battle of Britpop. By 1994, both sides were already winning. Blur drop Parklife. Oasis release Definitely Maybe, which goes on to become one of the fastest-selling debut albums in UK history. But it wasn't just about the music anymore. It got personal. Blur taking shots, calling them Oasis Quo. Oasis firing back, mocking Blur's sound as basically novelty music. Then it all peaks. August 20th, 1995. Same day, same moment. Blur release Country House. Oasis release Roll With It. And the entire country picks a side. Sales explode. The biggest week for UK singles in a decade. Blur takes it. Country House outsells Roll With It. But here's the thing people forget. That moment wasn't just about who won. It proved something bigger. Competition sells. Narrative sells. And when fans feel like they're part of something, they show up. You rarely at this level, and years later, they squash it. You've even got Noel Gallagher working with Gorillaz, Damon Albarn's project from Blur. Full circle. Then the 90s does something completely different again. It stops trying to be deep and just has fun. Because this era also gave us songs that made absolutely no sense, but somehow took over the world. Macarena, Barbie Girl, Blue, Dubba D. You didn't choose to like them, they just stayed in your head, whether you wanted them there or not. And yeah, you can call them gimmicks, but here's the truth.
They understood something most artists still struggle with. Simplicity wins. If people can remember it instantly, repeat it, and attach it to a moment, it spreads. That's basically the same formula behind viral music today. Different platforms, same psychology. And if you grew up around that time, don't lie, you still know the words. And then, one of the most important moments in modern music happens, almost by accident. Share, believe. At first, people didn't even know what they were hearing. Her voice sounded different, glitched, robotic, almost unnatural. But it wasn't a mistake. It was Autotune, used not to fix vocals, but to transform them. That moment changed everything. Because from that point on, technology wasn't just there to support the artist, it became part of the sound itself. And once that door opened, there was no going back. You go from Cher to Daft Punk shaping electronic music, to artists like T-Pain and Kanye West turning Autotune into a signature. Now it's everywhere. Pop, hip-hop, R&B. Even artists who say they don't use it are still influenced by what it created. And it all traces back to that one decision: to stop hiding the technology and make it part of the art. And then something happens that quietly changes music forever. Genres stop staying separate. Pop, R&B, hip-hop, they start blending. And one of the clearest moments of that shift, Fantasy by Mariah Carey, but not the original, the remix, featuring ODB. At the time, that wasn't normal. Pop artists didn't just jump on tracks with raw hip-hop voices like that. But it worked, and more than that, it opened the door. Because now, collaboration wasn't a risk, it became an advantage. You start seeing it everywhere. Fugees with Killing Me Softly, blending soul, hip-hop, and storytelling in a way that still holds up today. Coolio with Gangsta's Paradise, bringing a darker, more reflective sound into the mainstream. And suddenly, hip-hop isn't just influencing music, it's shaping it. What started as a crossover became the center of culture. And if you look at the charts today, that shift never reversed. And just as that's happening, the energy moves somewhere else. Out of bedrooms, out of studios, and onto dance floors. Because the 90s also gave rise to something that would define an entire generation of nights out: DJ culture. For the first time, the person behind the decks wasn't just background. They were the main act. Crowds weren't waiting for lyrics, they were waiting for the drop. Underworld had people chanting to Born Slippy. The Chemical Brothers were turning tracks like Hey Boy, Hey Girl into chaos on the dance floor. Fatboy Slim, Basement Jaxx, Groove Armada. They weren't just making music, they were creating moments. And that shift? It changed how people experienced music completely. It wasn't just something you listened to anymore. It was something you felt, live, loud, together. And by the end of the decade, electronic music wasn't underground anymore. It was everywhere, from clubs to cars to global festivals. And maybe the best way to understand how big that moment really was is this. Carl Cox didn't just celebrate the new millennium once, he did it twice. Playing New Year's Eve in Australia, then flying across the world just to do it all again in Hawaii. Same night, two crowds, one moment, repeated. That's how global this had become. So when people look back at the 90s, they usually see nostalgia. The fashion, the trends, the chaos. But if you look a bit closer, this wasn't just a moment in time. It was a turning point. Because everything starts connecting here. The way artists are built, the way music is marketed, the way sounds evolve and blend and spread. All of it leads back to this decade. The 90s didn't fade, it just evolved into everything you're hearing now.